Okay, so the background is dry, I think, yes. And I'm going to start on the hair. Zoom in here. I'm going to take, I think I'll go ahead and, I think I'll use my number 6 round brush. And I'm going to use the Payne's Gray. And I like to make a sort of a pool of the color on my table. You could do it on acrylic block or something you can pick it up off of, just so I don't have such heavy lines when I start. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill in her hair with this color. And I'll just start down here, and I'm going to go with the flow of the hair. Okay, and we'll do up here, come around to the flow of the hair. It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll go back in and do some more details. And it's okay if the flowers get color blue, because we're going to go over those with gesso. I'm just going to start, I know some hair shows in here, so I'm going to go ahead and go over those. Try not to go over the leaves, but the flowers do not matter. Still going with the flow of the hair. Okay, so there's a couple leaves here I don't want to hit. Just kind of, I mean, you can get into them, it's not going to kill it. I just prefer they weren't all blue. Oops, see, and I just did it. That's okay. And this is just going to be our base color. I'm going to add a little bit more to my table, water and paint, and do the other side. Come down, there's a leaf there, come around. And then around. Oh, his beak doesn't really matter. It's going to be dark anyway. So we'll go ahead and go through that. Okay, so that is filled in. I'm going to lighten this up so I can see where I need to put the flower at. Okay, so I'm going to let that, well, I guess I don't need to let it dry. I'm going to go ahead and get my number 4 round brush. I'm going to add a little more color to this, a little more water, and I'm going to start making some lines in here. Okay. And start here, go around, add some more lines in here. The flatter you push your brush, the wider the line will be. You can always go back in and make it a little thinner. I'll do some around here. I'm going to add a little bit more water to my pile here. Make some lines. I'm going to make some lines here. And this will all come together when we're done. Okay, I'm going to do the top of the head. I've got those leaves here. And we'll do the other side. Okay. Add a little more to my pile here. I come down and around. And on the outside, add a little more water to that. And come around her face. Be careful not to paint into her face. Okay, so I'll let that dry a little bit. And then I will come back in and do some finer lines. Okay, so I'm going to do some more detail with my number 4. This is mostly dry, so I'm just going to try to keep my brush up and not smush down so the lines are thin. And give it some more. This just gives it more texture, I think. And I'm trying to keep with the flow of the hair. And we'll come down here. Add some lines. In the end, you'll see how it all works. It makes it a big difference, making all the different layers of the same color, but and we'll come around here. I'll do one here. And around here. Do some up here. Okay. And here. And this side. Okay. A couple lines in there. All right. So we're almost done with this. I'm going to let this dry a little bit. Then I'm going to use my rigger brush, it's just a long detail brush. I use it for eyelashes and skinny lines in my hair. So anyway, any long skinny brush. I don't think they're all called rigger brushes. They're detail brushes. Some are different lengths. This one's a little bit shorter. This one just says Royal, but this does say rigger. It's from Winsor & Newton. Okay, so I'm going to take, this looks mostly dry, I'm going to take and thicken up my paint over here. Oh, I got some water in there. And then we'll start making some lines. And this can be a little hard to control. If you hold it closer to the tip, it's easier to keep control of it. Just be careful you don't run your hand in there. Okay. So put some small lines in there. And I'm going to keep her hair all the same color. Usually I like to add a lot of different colors, but I like the monochromatic in this one. Okay. And we'll just keep adding our lines. I'll add some lines up here. And I will go back in with a black detail pen, micron pen, and probably add some more lines later. That's at the end. Okay, I'm going to add some up here. I think I'll add a couple more in here. Okay, and then the other side. Just make sure you keep it with the flow of the hair. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to add some lines outside of her hair. You see that? Yeah. Let's zoom in a little bit. So I'm coming around and adding some curls in there. Okay, and then I think I'll give her some in her face. And maybe a couple here. Need to add a little water to my brush. Okay. Okay, I'll do the other side. I'll come around here. I'm trying to look at the camera and this at the same time. My lines went out a little bit, but that's all right. Okay. Okay, I think that's good. That's pretty good for the hair. Let's zoom back out. Alright, so I think next we'll be doing her shirt and the bird, and then we'll start getting into details like the flowers and leaves and her eyes and all that. Alright, so for this you're going to need your table salt. I have table salt here, or kosher salt is a little thicker. You could use rock salt. They all give you a little bit different of a pattern. I think I'm just going to use table salt. So I've put some of the indigo blue on my table and the sepia. Sometimes it's easier just to get it watered down a little bit and in a puddle than pulling the solid color out of the palette. Okay, so I'm going to start with the, oh, it's not indigo, it's Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray, and I'm just, oh, this is a 3/4 flat brush. You could use whatever brush, I just want to get, I want a large area colored, and I want it to stay wet. Okay, I'm going to come around here. I got some paint on my picture when I was painting something else. That's what these brown spots are. Okay. I'm trying to keep this wet. Okay, so I'm going to add some of the brown. I don't want it to all be the exact same color as the hair or the trees or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to add some table salt. Okay, so I'll add this and then I'm going to let it sit and sit until it's dry. So when it's dry, we will wipe it off and see how it looks. Okay, so I've got the salt all dry. I'm going to take that off. Let's see. I'm just going to wipe it off. Okay. You can see where the salt was, the little tiny dots all the way around. Leaves a really cool pattern, then you don't have to worry about what should I fill in here. It's just done for you. Alright, so next I think we'll work on the bird. I think I'm going to make him yellow with a pink on the front. And I will do, let's see. I'm not sure what color to do him. Maybe the gosh, I can't decide. Windsor yellow, maybe? Yeah, I think we'll do Windsor yellow. So that's kind of really yellow. I think I'll do a different one. Let's try the new Gamboge. I think that's how you say it. It's a little bit, got a little bit more orange in it. And we'll water it down. I kind of got into his wing there with the blue. Try not to spread that too much. Okay, so while it's wet, I'm going to use the Winsor Red and put a little bit in his chest area here and a little on his cheek. And I think I'll take a little more of the New Gamboge and darken up the wings. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. And I'll better zoom in so you can see that better. Okay, so I've got the bird colored in and dry. I think I'm going to take a little bit of the sepia and shade it just a bit. So this is his wing. Whoop. So I'm going to just go around here a little bit. And maybe a little shading underneath here and in here. And around here. And I'll take my brush. I've cleaned it out and wet it a little bit and just feather it out a little bit. It just gives it a little bit of shading. Okay, and then I'm going to take my... Oh, actually, I think I'll just do that in black. Next, let's see. I think we could do the flowers in her hair. So for that, we're going to need some gesso, and for the leaves, I'm going to be using permanent sap green. We'll go ahead and do the green. Let's see which one is that. Okay. I'm going to get some green and this is my number 4 round brush, and just start coloring those in. Okay, and then we've got some in her hair. Okay, and I'm just going to keep coloring this, just coloring them in solid, so I'm going to fast forward through this. Alright, so there's just a few leaves, nothing big. Okay, so I'll let that dry, and I think I'm going to go around this piece and do a little bit of shading with the sepia again. Actually, I think I'll mix some sepia and some of the Payne's Gray. Clean out my brush, get some Payne's Gray to make kind of a shadowy color. Okay, and then I'm just gonna start doing some shading like around her face. I'm just gonna do lightly around the edge, and it kind of cleans up some of these lines that are a little wobbly. And I'm just doing a light line. I'll come down around here, under the bird, and a little bit under her chin. And her ear. And I'm going to come around her face a little bit here. I'm going to do under the flowers a bit. I think you can see that, but I'll zoom in. Under the flower and the leaf and her hairline. I'm going to go ahead and do the eyebrows a little bit. I can come back in darker later. And I think I'll do under her nose. To her lip. Let's see. And a little bit here. And this is just a light wash of this. I'm just trying to straighten my lines out a little bit. And I am going to use a black marker later and go over some of this. Alright, so I'm going to go here. I'll water that down a little bit. Oh, sorry. Down here. And lightly here. Okay, I'm going to go around the collar a little bit darker. Okay. That gives that a little shading. I think I need to go around her shoulder over here too. Pretty messy. Alright, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take this paint again, the mix of indigo and sepia, and add some pupils in her eyes. And I'm putting kind of a dot in the middle, and then I come up to the top and kind of drag it over. I've cleaned out my brush, and I'm going to spread that a little bit. Or make it a little less dark. I'm going to add black later. And then you could drag it across here. Drag it down. Drag it. Drag it here. Okay. And then I'm going to take the same paint, and I think I'm going to go ahead and fill these centers in. And I'll let those dry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the gesso flowers. I have squirted some gesso onto a piece of tracing paper. You could squirt it on whatever, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to just pick some up on my brush. And I'm going to drag it down. I'm going to pick some up on my brush and drag it down. And then for the next petal, same thing. Okay, I'm going to do that for each one. And then this one overlaps this one. Oops, sorry. This one overlaps here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fill those in. Okay, so that's it for those. I'm going to go ahead and let those dry, and then we will finish up with details.